So, good morning, good morning. Here we are. Oh wow, I probably can hear that. Good morning. We're going into this track. Good morning, good morning. Here in East Tennessee, it is kind of morose today. Why am I seeing that haze? Well, you can't see it, so I guess it doesn't matter. Sam Hickory. I'm glad that's not tampering with the view you guys get, because it's so weird. Hope we're all doing well today. I am someone, for those regulars who know me, you know that I try and keep up with things. Hey Destiny, how are you, darling? Good morning, good morning. I try to keep up with things in the politosphere. I try to, know what's going on in our world and, just kind of keep up and understand what's happening. And this whole government shutdown thing is crazy, right? It's also crazy that people act like we've never seen this before. I'm glad to hear it, Destiny. Welcome in, dear. It's crazy to me that people... Oh, I'll buckle my seatbelt. I know that's going to be annoying. Sorry, y'all. People act like this is something we've never seen before when the government shut down a couple of times. Historically. Bet you can't guess who's been at fault historically almost every single time. But here's the thing, right? Misinformation and the intentional disinformation from Democrats is really starting to get a little bit old, to me personally anyway. And I feel like even good friends of mine who are conservative are being kind of fleeced. Their eyes are fleeced, and they're saying to themselves I'm so upset with Trump for causing this shutdown because, of course, CNN and MSNBC want to post clips from Trump 20 years ago or more saying, hey, if the government shuts down, it is definitely the fault of the president. As someone who was not a politician at the time, had never served political office, the only one and first one he served was president, obviously, as a businessman, seeing it from a corporate standpoint. And, it's just kind of disappointing to see. Hey, Justin, welcome in. Happy Wednesday. Hump day. I'm sorry, Destiny. It's, it's difficult sometimes. It is. I don't know what state you live in, and I'm not asking you to tell me. But I know that in East Tennessee, it is an employee's market right now. People are so desperate to hire workers that they're taking away some of their requirements. Like before, you had to have a high school diploma or GED to work in a lot of our factories around here. We have things like Randstad Randstad's a temp agency, excuse me, Newell Rubbermaid, which not only makes Tupperware and things, but they actually make Sharpies. A lot of people don't know that. And we have Denso, and now we have Smith & Wesson, and we have some Amazon factories. But some of the factories have literally taken away the requirement that you have a GED or high school diploma just so that they can get workers in here to work in these factories, right? It's crazy. Missouri, okay, well, it might be a little bit different there. I don't have many friends there, and I can't speak to the job market there. But I'm really sorry you're struggling to find a job. I know here in East Tennessee, it's supposedly super easy. I know certain people struggle more. I think it says a lot about our society. I don't know if it's good or bad just yet, that you can get a job somewhere and not even have to have a high school diploma, but if you're a felon, they give you shit, right? How interesting is that? But anyway, back to my original point about this government shutdown. I'm seeing a whole lot of misinformation out there because, that's what they do. And I just kind of wanted to have a discussion about it, Y'all know me. Let's have a discussion. I'm driving to Nana's, so I've only got about 30 or 40 minutes. We'll take the long way. And kind of have this discussion because, like I said, even some of my conservative friends seem to be a little bit confused about a few things. For one, why the government shut down. Two, who's at fault. And three, what's up with this anyway? Where did this start? What is the reason behind it? How do we fix it, right? I am not an economist. I'm certainly no expert. I only have my GED and a little bit of college experience, so I never claimed to be any type of expert on any of this. But I do my research. I am a bibliophile. I like to do lots and lots of research and understand the world happening around me. So I can maybe answer some of y'all's questions. You know, I feel like common sense, everyday people kind of get left behind when all these pundits and politicians speak on the news, right? And they don't really explain things well, and you know, it becomes kind of a cluster duck. Struggling to even get help from the food pantry. Oh wow. What? Trying to shut them down? Now that's crazy. That would be, I'm not sure what type of food pantries you're talking about. I know here locally, all of our food pantries are not government funded. They're services to the community by religious affiliates and houses of worship, churches, synagogues, things like that. It would be crazy for the government to try and, if you mean the government's trying to shut them down, that would literally be illegal. So long as they have the proper permitting and everything, and they're insured, because if you sell any sort of food or even give it away for free, you have to carry a certain type of insurance, depending on your state. Once again, I'm not an expert in any of this, but as long as all their paperwork's in order, that would be something very much I would be interested to hear about, because that would be illegal if the government's trying to step in and do that. I would not want to be the government on the other end of that lawsuit. Good morning, Kamari. How are you, darling? Good morning, good morning. Welcome in, everyone. So back to my point, I wanted to first address the fact that government shutdowns are not a new thing, right? A lot of the younger generation is like shocked and appalled because they were too young when it happened under Obama, and certainly precedent shutdowns. They don't remember any of that, right? And this is, so far, the second longest running shutdown. So even when those shutdowns happened, it wasn't a long time, and they certainly didn't affect anyone's benefits, or really cause that much of an uproar, you know, comparatively, compared to now, anyway, right? So why did the government shut down? Very simply put, right, there's lots of nuance, there's lots of other factors, but basically, a lot of people don't understand this part of it. I've been educating myself, so I thought maybe you guys would like to know as well. So we actually have not created a budget. The Congress has not created a budget in the House for the United States of America to run off of, a new one, right, since 1996. So, I mean, you could look at the whole reason that we're in, you know, quadrillion billions in debt. That's probably got something to do with it, right? We haven't created a new budget in, what's that, 40 years? No, 30 years. Like, let me do math, right? So that's where it begins. So what happens whenever these plans are set to expire, or every year, these our politicians come together, our Congress comes together, and they say, hey, we need to allocate funding for this and this and that, right? Because all these programs have to be funded. All these federal agencies, all these employees need money, right? So they take this big pot of money that we pay as American citizens, right? And they say, we need to put this much and this much and this much over here. Good morning, Simba. So good to see you, dear. Welcome in. We need to put this over here and that over there. So this is what we need, right? So they write up these bills, and if they need to add or subtract, they can do that with specific bills or amendments to the continuing resolution, right? You might have heard this word repeatedly in the news lately or from our politicians, right? What is a continuing resolution? Well, the resolution is what was written. It's basically our budget from 1996, right? So instead of writing a new budget, aka a new resolution in the House, they decide, or in Congress, pardon me, they say, hey, let's just continue the resolution that we've had for X amount of time, right? However, the reason that the shutdown happened was that when it came time this year to add amendments and all of this, before they signed the resolution, the Democrats wanted to slip in a whole bunch of new funding, because many pro-life advocates, anti-illegal immigration advocates are trying to hamper down on the fact that our taxpayer money goes to illegal immigrants, goes to funding Planned Parenthood, even though they deny it, etc., right? So they try to put these things into the resolution, and it's not to say that any of the language specifically says, hey, Medicaid and Medicare dollars are going to cover illegal immigrants. But the language was such in this resolution that the states, on a state level, on a state level, they could use loopholes provided in this language to be able to cover illegal immigrants, to be able to fund things like Planned Parenthood, which we do not agree with as conservatives, right? And how do we know that they would do that? Well, it's because it's the same type of language in the bills of the past, right? The best indicator of the future is the past. So Democrats that are saying there's no language in the resolution to cut where Medicaid dollars need to cover illegal immigrants. Well, that's technically true. There is no language that says we're going to allocate funds specifically to cover illegal immigrants, right? However, they leave out the part that they write these amendments to the resolution in such a way that loopholes can be utilized to do such a thing, right? So that's number one. Hi, Ernest. How are you, dear? Hi, Mr. Grass. So good to see you. Hope you're doing well. So it's very, very shady business, right? So here, the Democrats said, "Hey, we want to add these amendments to the resolution," right? Of course, the Republicans said, "No, we're not fixing to do that today." What we're not finna do, as Republicans, is this, right? Well, they could, they go back and forth. They can't come to an agreement. Well, what happens if they can't come to an agreement is, as the Democrats were threatening, the government gets shut down, right? Now, if you want to really, really see who the party of the people is, let's look at the way everyone has acted since the government shutdown, right? Even though the Republicans had a hand in it by saying, like, no, we're not going to sign off on this, they have proposed, as of yesterday, 14 times to Congress bills for continuing resolution, which means, fine, we're going to agree to doing exactly the same thing. We're going to sign a continuing resolution. It doesn't add any of these new amendments, but it'll be exactly the same thing we've had for 20 years. We'll agree to that because our people are going to suffer, and we don't want, everybody's talking about these people on EBT. These are not the only people that are affected. The FAA right now has already released statements saying that their flight traffic controllers, starting tomorrow, will be going to work completely unpaid, but they're considered essential, and so they will lose their jobs if they don't show up to work, even though they're not getting paid, right? So people want to think about all these EBT, WIC programs, things like that, which are also important, don't get me wrong, but this affects so many people, the National Park Service Rangers. There's tons of people that are affected by this government shutdown, things that you might not even think about, that are funded by government dollars, or they are considered government employees, right? So there's this. And so the Republicans, 14 times have said, listen, you know what? Even if we don't agree with everything to the letter, we would totally agree to a continuing resolution so that we can protect our people, get our workers paid, so that people are not going to, go without food or services that they need. Look at places like the VA, et cetera, right? Well, of course, the Democrats have turned down every single continuing resolution. 14 times as of last night. 14 times the Democrats have told the American people, you are not important enough to put our pride aside or to put our agenda aside to take care of you. Even though you've elected us to represent you, we always knew that was not their goal, right? They really want to get rich from insider trading and make themselves look nice and create a good reputation for themselves. They don't want to actually serve the American people. Hey, Mr. Theo, so good to see you, dear. Thank you. We'll see you again soon. Thank you for stopping in. Always good to see you, Theo. Thank you so much, dear. So here's the thing. I had to look up his name. I can't remember which one it was. One of the Democrat, I'm sure someone in the chat probably can tell me. Hey, Ron, bless you, brother. So good to see you. Welcome in. So a Democrat congressman was asked a few days ago, 2 or 3 days ago, why they would not sign. At that point, I think it was 12 of the continuing resolutions, why they were refusing to sign. This Democratic congressman literally told, I think it was CNBC, he literally told one of their anchors, well, we can't sign onto the continuing resolution because for the first time in many years, we have leverage against the Republicans to get these things through that we need. So now we won't agree to a continuing resolution. We're going to add more amendments, and that's what we're going to push. We're not going to settle for anything less. We'll keep the government shut down as long as we need, right? Crazy. That's crazy talk. And even a Democratic anchorman pushed back on him and said, but you understand Americans are suffering, right? Like, you understand that this is going to hurt the American people. And this Democratic congressman said, I understand that people are going to suffer, and I hate to see that. However, this is the only leverage we have, and with a Republican majority, at this point, it might be the last chance we have, right? Oh, CM Sun, I'm just going to call you 117. You must be a liberal. We'll welcome in. Your opinions are welcome here. Dissenting opinions make our values and our beliefs stronger if we can defend them. So feel free to say anything you'd like. I would definitely say, as I said at the beginning of the stream, you know, you can put out all the viral clips you want about Trump saying that the president is to blame for a government shutdown 20 years ago before he had any political experience. But I'm sure even he now would tell you, as the commander-in-chief, that indeed that's not his fault. It's the fault of the Democrats who absolutely refuse to sign even a continuing resolution because now they want to use the American people as their leverage to promote their agendas. Democrats don't want everyone. Oh, come on. Scream how terrible they're being treated. Okay, now you're just being disingenuous. Are you really going to act like every single year since Obamacare, the terrible, was instituted, insurance rates haven't doubled? It's a continuing resolution from Obamacare, which was a Democrat idea, right? And all the Democrats pushed it. In fact, if you recall, the last time the government shut down, it was because Republicans did not want to agree to Obamacare. So let's really get our facts straight here before we just mouth off and say a whole bunch of crazy stuff. Tell them what they are and what they think. Oh, the conservatives do that? The Republicans do that? Because maybe I missed something. The last time I checked, in fact, the Democrats that were promoting violence that led to things like Charlie Kirk's death. Did I miss something between now and then? I mean, tell me if so. You are not us. Don't you dare tell us what we are or what we think. If you were us, you would know how much you get wrong about us. Well, here's the thing, Gleebifier. You want to know something funny? A lot of you want to come in here and judge me for my conservative-leaning libertarian values, but I championed democratic ideals, right? Liberal ideals for most of my adult life. I protected women several times and volunteered my time for months when I was entering college outside of abortion clinics, right? Because no matter what side of the aisle I stand on, I stand up for my beliefs. But see, it's funny, people usually grow into conservatism. How many people grow into liberalism? There's a reason for that, right? You grow up, you see the real world, you raise children, you have a family, you get a career and not just some high school job. You see how the real world works and you tend to lean toward conservative values. It's funny that that's the way that it happens and not the other way around. I know what you get wrong. Oh, okay. I am a bibliophile. I read a whole lot. But it's nice of you to come into my live and tell me that I'm so judgmental and I'm telling you everything you do wrong. You sit here and you tell me you're a former conservative. Do you know how often that happens? Do you know how many people the conservative side of the aisle has lost to liberalism? You're maybe a handful. It's not often. Maybe people have Trump regret I've heard a few of those people speak out for voting with Trump, but for being a conservative, I don't see that. I don't see that. You're one of maybe 3 that I've ever even heard of, right? There's a reason for that. A Democrat will feed 100 kids because one of them might go hungry. A Republican will starve 100 because they think one of the children doesn't deserve food. See, this is classic projection. This person is really coming into my comment section telling me that it's Republicans who want to starve our people to prove a point, when it is in fact the Democrats that are refusing to sign 14 times now, refusing to sign a continuing resolution to feed Americans. You guys are so deranged. All you can do is project your own insecurities and terrible qualities and shortcomings onto Republicans, when in fact it's the Republicans that have now 14 times put a continuing resolution in front of Congress, and every single Democrat but one, as of yesterday, but one, has absolutely voted against it. They refuse to agree, and they are going on national television and saying the quiet part out loud. They're telling the American people, we can't sign on to these continuing resolutions because now we finally have the leverage we need, and we may not see this leverage again anytime soon. They said the quiet part out loud, and you really want to come into my comment section and put all of y'all's shitty qualities onto conservatives when it's us who is trying to save the lives of women and babies and Americans and starving Americans across the country. That's crazy work. That's crazy work right there. That's wild. Who silence people with differing opinions through violence? Who are you talking about? Are you talking about the gay man that had a tranny boyfriend that carved fascist sayings onto the bullet that killed Charlie Kirk? Is that what you mean? Because I know you don't mean conservatives. This is crazy. This is the mind virus that is liberalism in America. You are literally, a lot of you, I really have to believe at this point, either mentally ill or evil. See, I've stood up for y'all for so long and said, no, no, no. They really think they're doing the right thing. I was once a liberal. I understand them. Charlie Kirk was an asshole. Well, you know what? I think he was a hero, right? It's funny because if it was the opposite, if it was a conservative going into some liberal snowflakes chat and saying this shit, y'all would be immediately banned. Here's the thing. Maybe a few of you can stick around and learn something, right? Maybe a few of you could stick around. Look at the big chicken. You see the big chicken over there? Big chicken. Maybe if a few of you stuck around, we could work something toward a middle ground, because that has been my goal for weeks now. Ever since Charlie Kirk died, I said, you know what? I want to find a way to bridge this gap. Okay, now we're going to come with the tinfoil hat. Okay. That's literally what the Democrats are doing, 117. They are refusing to sign a continuing resolution that would open the government back up, and they are saying the quiet part out loud by telling the American people, we finally have the leverage we need. We refuse to sign until they agree to our demands. What do you call that if not taking food out of Americans' mouths? What do you mean? Get a job and don't depend on the government is true, but what about all the disabled veterans and the people on SSI and SSD? Yes, I agree. Too many lazy Americans are abusing the system. I absolutely agree. Yet there are many people in this country who can't just work, or who did work for 60 plus years of their life and pay into the tax system so that they could one day retire. Like, get so for real right now. They are the exception, right? Just like women who are raped or their babies result from incest are the exception of the other 97 to 98% of abortions, 1 million a year, that happen inside the United States. They're the exception, but that's what y'all scream about, right? Countless videos of protesters committing violence against liberals. Are you actually deranged? Are you actually deranged? Because this is insanity. Like, if you only watch CNN and like CNBC to get your news, you probably would believe that. Yeah, and Islam isn't. Hey, Larry, I see you, darling. Welcome, welcome. Islam is the sword that they're using to slit the throat of Americans. Look at Dearborn, Michigan. Are you kidding me right now? Welcome to America, where you can immigrate, never have to assimilate, and rape and murder our citizens. And it's just another freedom here in America, right? That's wild. Like, y'all are actually deranged. Some of you are deranged. Mostly black children, liberals abort, and that's correct. And do you know why it's mostly black children that liberals abort? Let me tell you, because see, Margaret Sanger founded Planned Parenthood, and she was a known eugenicist. In fact, she was such a eugenicist that she inspired Hitler. And only a few years ago, when BLM rioted in the streets over her name and her face being on Planned Parenthood's building, did they even decide to take her name off the damn thing. Until then, they were so proud they gave out the Margaret Sanger Award every year for people that spearheaded the mass murder of their children. I want people's constitutional rights to be protected. There is not a compromise on this issue. What constitutional right? And whose? Do you mean U.S. citizens? Muslims aren't murdering babies, though? Is that your argument? They're murdering Americans. They're murdering their babies. Does that matter to you? Yes, Margaret Sanger, absolutely. Hey, Tennessee sister. Hello, darling. Spewing hate? Bitchware. Bitchware. Anybody that's been on longer than 5 minutes knows I am one of the least hateful people you'll ever know. But it's like they say about Charlie Kirk. See, I'm not using hate speech. I'm using speech that you hate and you can't stand it. That's exactly right, can't comment. Like I said, it's literal eugenics. That's what she believed in. It wasn't just blacks or other people of color either. It was anybody that was mentally ill, anybody who had an IQ less than something wrong. I'm saying with facts. I have said, and tell me how it's hateful. I'll wait. What do you, it is the Democrats that are refusing to sign the continuing resolution. You guys you don't deal in facts. That's why it's impossible for so many people to speak with you or negotiate with you, because you can't even admit the reality of the situation to have a discussion about it. Like, I just can't. You're right. Democrats cannot debate policy, so they resort to violence. That's correct. You're right. Okay, can't comment. Black people, brown people, whatever color you'd like to assign to them, or they assign themselves, that's fine. No, I pulled in here actually to just, for a moment, kiki with y'all before I continue to go to my Nana's house, because she's on hospice and I go there to take care of her several times a week with my careless, hateful self, because she's dying and I'm enjoying the time that I have left with her because I value life. That's crazy, right? Crazy how that works. To leave, repeat yourself 5 times. Okay, but argue with facts then. Prove me wrong, and you can't. Trump perhaps is in the Epstein files that he went to the island, but at this point, he literally disjoined himself from this man, kicked him out of Mar-a-Lago, and publicly denounced him before the public even knew that his conviction, or that his, not his conviction, but his charges had been filed. Like, what do you mean? You speak facts. I voted for Bill Clinton back in the day when I was young, my first time voting, didn't know what I was doing. I'll never make that mistake again. Well, I'm sorry you feel that way. I was hoping you would say, yeah, well, whatever they'd like to be. We could be anything we want, right? Small towns only have dollar stores. Okay. You're just a troll. That's okay. But you know what you're doing? You're feeding the algorithm right now. So go right ahead. Troll all you want. Sure. Probably so. Probably so. Okay, but what I'm saying is, you guys just don't. Nobody's getting murdered at the dollar store if I'm around, because I actually protect the people around me, right? Because I actually care about people. This is what, it's crazy to me. Like, if you would like to come in, right, and actually, if you want to prove me wrong about something, drop a website, right? Why don't you drop some statistics? Why don't you show me with some form of information? I mean, I have been citing facts that have happened. I have given you statistics. Not just in this live, this is what I do. If you look at my past lives, I will literally put my sources in the description box. Anybody who's been here, who's a subscriber, one of my mods, who's an actual friend, they can tell you, I don't just speak off of my feelings, I speak off of facts. Okay, can't comment. Small towns have Dollar General, which is a distribution issue. I'm not saying it is an insult. I mean, look, there's one on every corner in East Tennessee. There sure is, which Dollar General is, that's a whole nother issue, right? So do you agree to pay twice or three times what you paid for their insurance and let everyone else keep what they're paying? Well, listen, here's the thing, 117, right? You act like this is something that the Republicans are causing, when in fact, like I just told you, every single year since Obamacare was instituted, healthcare premiums have risen, period. It's a fact, okay? I know people who were in certain states, Nebraska, Ohio, Missouri, who are telling me that they're paying anywhere from 50 to 90% more from their marketplace, for their marketplace premiums, right? And these are shitty plans for insurance in the first place, and you're paying that much more, right? So how are you going to sit here and act like this is somehow a Republican issue when it's Obamacare that caused it to happen? Like, can we be so for real right now? Like, I definitely don't agree that people should have to pay more and more and more every year. We need to abolish Obamacare and come up with something better. Oh, I agree, Larry. I agree. People shouldn't be able to stay in Congress or any position of power, any elected position, for half a lifetime. That's crazy. Ever heard of inflation? Oh my gosh. Yeah, and inflation is indeed rising. Yeah, just like it does. I mean, it's natural for it to rise a certain percentage every year. Isn't that what everybody was saying under Biden, right? But inflation does not cause your being delusional. They can sign and reopen the government, double to triple what they pay now. Listen, I feel like that's already an issue. I mean, just said 3 or 4 times. Like, we're acting like no matter what, we're getting shafted. Let's be so for real right now. Both the Republicans and the Democrats have been shafting the American people for a long time, right? That's exactly right, Cisco. They literally, and like I said, I've spoken from nothing but facts and truth. The Republicans are completely, partially to blame for the beginning of the shutdown, but since they've started to see its effects, they said, look, 14 times now, they said, let's just sign a continuing resolution to reopen the government, because they don't want to see people literally starve or not be able to feed their family or not be able to go see a doctor, right? I'm 36 years old, and Democrats have been president for 24 of those years. So the liberals who think they can blame everything on Democrats, I think you meant that, must not know how math works. The government's full of shit. Absolutely. Welcome, Joseph. And that's the thing. Everybody also wants to come in here because I say a good thing or two about the presidency, right? Like, the entire, not cabinet. Lord have mercy. Now I'm all kinds of backwards. Trump's, not his cabinet. I literally can't think. The president, right? Because I say good things about our president because I want to see our country succeed. They say, oh, she's MAGA. She's MAGA. She loves Trump. She's a Trump tart. Blah, 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 right? I don't even support Trump. How many times, for those of you who have been around for a while, how many times have I called Trump out? Right. We sure have. We sure have. No, I don't forget what that's like. I sure don't. I sure don't. Can't comment. I knew exactly what you meant. Measles has been so powerfully eradicated, people can be foolish and moronic and turn their kids into little plague carriers. I agree. A lot of the people that are that anti-vax are a little silly. Here's what I think. And this is, a lot of people think that I'm just so diehard MAGA, and I'm not. I am a conservative-leaning libertarian. I believe, for the most part, people should be able to do what they want, right? However, I also believe we have to consent to a certain amount of rule of law so that we can be. Definitely believe that we should be common sense about these issues. The issue is both sides of the extreme are fucking our country up. Period. Both sides. Well, you know what? Maybe so, 117. Maybe so. But I understand also what Trump's trying to do with the tariffs, and it's not just fucking us over. That's what I just said, Thunderbird. Welcome. Yeah. Yeah. They're literally just a bunch of puppeteers, and they have someone else's hand up their ass that's really controlling what's going on, and we only see a certain amount of anything. I can say, so far, this is one of the most transparent presidencies we've witnessed. He's always doing press conferences for hours at a time and taking all kinds of questions, and when he's signing bills, he welcomes the press in. That's certainly not historic, right? That's a good thing. That's not true at all, 117. You're literally, right now, this is the problem, see, is all this, well, liberals do this, and conservatives do that, is one of the biggest problems. Repeat yourself 3 or 4 times. You have literally repeated that I've repeated myself. What are you even talking about? This is the way that liberals like to have conversations, in circular dialogue, right? Circular, 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 because they want to brain jumble you and mind fuck you into just giving up on the conversation. Except I'm not afraid of conversation with you guys, because I used to be one of you. I see all of your little tricks and they're not going to work on me. Okay, so answer me this. How long is it going to take to make these changes? And are the Americans just supposed to be able to, you know, starve? The ones that aren't lazy bums that are on EBT, but the ones who can't work, the ones who have lost legs going to fight for freedoms, right? The ones whose kids are severely autistic or have cystic fibrosis and they can't feed them. What about them? They're just supposed to wait around until they jerk each other off enough to make an agreement? Good morning, brother. So good to see you. Hello, Nader. No, you know what? You say that. However, I'm going to have to stat check that. But let's say that you're right? Let me just give you the benefit of the doubt. Who is it? Is it the Republicans, or is it more Democrat-leaning folks, more liberals that you're seeing right now all over YouTube and TikTok and X, literally saying, y'all better get out of my way, because if I don't get my food stamps, I'm still going in here to this grocery store and I'm going to take all this shit. Who is that? Is that Republicans or is that Democrats? I'll wait. Let's be so for real. Y'all really want to act like somehow it's the conservatives that are the party of violence. That's literal insanity, right? That's literally deranged. This is why people say you have Trump derangement syndrome, is because you act deranged. You say things that make no sense. You project what you guys are doing onto what other people are doing. Oh, hello, darling. Happy late birthday, Mary. So glad to see you. Always good to see you, darling. Hope you're doing well. Okay, Shingham, go with your question. Oh, my Lord. I swear. Now you're repeating yourself 16 times. Like, are you serious right now? Hi, Carver guy in Pennsylvania. Well, hello, hello, and welcome. I won't. Shut it down. This is a problem. This is a problem. You are the problem. Period. You're literally proving why the Democrats are keeping everything shut down right now. Like, and this is the thing. You literally just said Democrats think about other people and Republicans are selfish. Basically, I'm paraphrasing, but that was your point and you damn well know it. You literally just said because you don't want to pay higher health insurance premiums, you're willing to fucking starve Americans. This is the problem. You are the problem. I hope you see that. You are a hypocrite and you literally project all of your own bullshit onto conservatives. In the past 2 or 3 messages, you went from conservatives are selfish to I refuse to pay double my premium, so I don't care if Americans fucking starve. This is insanity. Like, there's not even any talking with some of you. I mean, he said a great many things, but please remind us. Hello there from Houston, Texas. Welcome, welcome. Hi, Tony Prada. So glad to see you. Hello, hello. We don't normally just stare at the Dollar General wall. Usually I'm about to go see my Nana and take care of her. She's on hospice right now, but I decided to stop for a minute and talk to you guys. So Good morning. Hit the sub button. We don't always get so heated, but we love it when we have new people who like to share their opinion. Your opinion's welcome here. The blue people aren't going to time you out or send you away. I promise. They're just my friends. That's it. It could be stupidity. And here's the thing. Anybody that's a regular, anybody that knows me, and anybody that's even been here in the past week or two will tell you, I have been standing up for Democrats. Believe it or not. Believe it or not. I have said, comments have said, listen, they're evil, they're mentally ill, they're evil. I have said, listen, no, I don't think that the majority of Democrats are bad people. I think that they're good people who are confused or misinformed or misled or manipulated. I can tell you this because I was a Democrat for a very long time. I was a liberal for most of my life, and I believed many of the insane projected bullshit quote unquote facts they claim are facts that they spew, right? I believed that a human life in the womb wasn't a human life in the womb, and it was in fact just a clump of cells, right? I believed that they were the party that had the best interest of people in mind until I watched them literally starve our people, not give a shit about Americans, give all this foreign aid, literally go into all these other countries and start wars, warmonger, make sure that the people that were closest to them had the contracts to literally build the missiles they were dropping so they could become billionaires. Like, I'm not saying that Republicans aren't corrupt, but when you look at both parts, not to mention the fact that they're fucking killing us out here. Like, let's be so for real right now. When you look at the two parties and you tell me which one is the most vitriolic, hateful, and violent, and you tell me it's conservatives, you are full of shit. Period. Thank you guys. Like, not paying the troops. What are you talking about, not paying the troops? The one ringing most in your ears is a house divided must fall. Yeah? Possibly. They don't just... Oh, and that was the other thing I was going to tell you as well, is that, we're talking about, how did that feel? When you were a Democrat and Republicans told you what was important to you and they had no clue what they were talking about, how did that feel? I mean, it was super annoying. But again, here you are doing the same exact thing, right? And I'm not attempting to claim I understand exactly how every Democrat feels. But you know what? I can over any of these other Republicans that are lifelong Republicans because I was one. You keep forgetting that part of the puzzle, right? That's exactly it. So this other point that I was going to make a moment ago is that we had someone, hold on. Actually, I can just show you because I took a screenshot of it so that I wouldn't forget, and I'm going to show you. Da-da-na-na-na. Let me see it. Is it this one? Senator Rick Scott. That's who it was. Getting a lot of hate because he said, if you don't do your job, you don't get paid. Isn't that crazy? Isn't that absolutely crazy, right? He's getting a lot of hate right now. And then there was another congressman. There was a congressman who was asked, are you going to, this was again on one of the major news networks. I can't remember his name. Someone could Google it for me, or I can find it and put it in the description for later. I absolutely will. You can ask the regulars. I will provide my sources. He said, he was asked, hey, why don't you propose a bill to make sure that the congressmen can give up, they could maybe donate their paychecks to go towards this or go towards that until the government shutdown stops, since they're not doing any work. And this man literally had the nerve, the gall, the unmitigated audacity to tell this news anchor, well, no, some of these people are young folks that have families to support. They can't afford to do that. Right. Because millions of Americans aren't exactly the same, right? But here we are once again saying that, the Republicans are the enemy when all of this is being caused by the Democrats. But if you jump down my throat because I talked about getting soft paper from it, you wouldn't be responding to what I actually think is important. That makes no sense. Is that the point? Is that you're making a nonsensical argument? Maybe they're not hateful and vitriolic to you, but they are hateful and vitriolic to everyone even sort of like me. That's not true. To answer me this, okay, there are many, many people, pundits, especially smaller creators that I know, where you can go right into their channel and they're talking any day of the week about politics, and you're not going to be muted or timed out or called names, right? I might have said that something you said is fucking insane, and I might have had like a moment of like, oh my gosh, I'm mind blown by this, because I believe that you believe these things, but you've been lied to. All you have to do is go and check my sources, right? Go and find out for yourself. I'm not even telling you to believe me. I'm telling you, actually look into it. There is emergency funding. It's not specifically for SNAP, but they could utilize it for SNAP. They could. He is refusing that, and I don't agree with that. And I literally said that earlier. I know you haven't been here from the beginning, but in the beginning, I called Trump out for that, just like I called him out for not releasing the Epstein files. Because, see, I'm not a hardcore MAGA, right? I indeed don't just support anyone completely and blindly. If anyone does something that I disagree with, I don't give a fuck who you are, I will call you out for it. Because that's how freedom of speech, right? Freedom of thought, that's kind of how it's supposed to work. We're supposed to be able to talk about these issues. And I think that is a problem on both sides, right? Democrats definitely do not want to call out their own people. A lot of them refuse to condemn violence committed against all types of people, Democrat and Republican, right? A lot of Republicans, but not all, will call out Republicans. I think that's something we need to be better at as well. We can all improve on that. What's up? There's one of my conservative friends and streamers I was talking about right there. That's Matt. Follow at Devil's Compound right there. He does live streams as well and talks about politics, and it's great. You're not saying you understand Democrats when you've said that you understand Democrats in 4 or 5 different ways for 4 or 5 different times. What? I do understand Democrats. I don't agree. That's the difference. Just because I understand, I can relate, I can see the point of view, doesn't mean I don't think that it's in fact insane. I understand why people support abortion, and I still believe and know in my heart it's fucking murder. Yep, the emergency funding is tied up to pay the military right now, and I agree. If it comes down to paying those who defend our country or welfare leechers, my vote is to pay the military. Can I get an amen? Thanks, Taz. We always love to see you, darling. You have a good day. Oh, wait. Is that DJ? It's ats right now. So I don't see names. I just see ats. It's DJ? That makes a lot of sense. Okay. Taz the Bulldog is another one of my good friends. I thought that was you. I'm sorry, DJ. Thank you so much for coming. So good to see you. Elon told Trump he'll give him $10 billion to pay the military. There you go. Take the at least a month or 2 of SNAP benefits and other programs. Pay our FAA. We don't want no flight trackers in the dang ATC towers or FTC towers and have them, flying all over the place and into each other. That would be pretty dumb. There we go. Bam. Done. Wonderful resolution, right? If we could come up with this, why can't Congress? This is a problem. But this is exactly why I wanted to do this stream today, is because there's so much misinformation out there that I really felt it was important. What do you mean? No, I did not. I literally told you. Okay, did I miss a message? Let me just make sure I didn't miss a message. Hold on. Wait a second. Your last message says you're not saying you understand Democrats when you say Democrats in 4 or 5 different ways, 4 or 5 different times. Yes, I am. I'm telling you that I believe abortion is wrong. I know it in my heart, yet I understand the premise of why people feel they need to have one. Understanding something and condoning something are 2 different things. Correct. That's exactly what I said. Get us a month or 2 at least to figure this shit out, because I know that wouldn't be a forever solution, but maybe it could be a solution for a little bit, We do need to do better. We need to figure something out better than Obamacare, right? I don't have all the solutions when it comes to that. I have a few good ideas. Most of it makes private insurance big and bad again, because I feel like, people thought putting the government's hand into it was going to make it better, and it didn't. It made it worse. It made for shittier plans. It's not competitive. And of course, also now they have access to all of your information. Not like they wouldn't anyway, because they spy on us a fuck ton. But, you know, and now they have ultimate control over your healthcare. It's crazy, right? Crazy how that works. So we need to figure out something better. I don't know what all the solutions are. Much like Trump, I have the concepts of ideas. I mean, he's also not a politician. A lot of people give him shit for that, but he never claimed to be a politician. Yes, he's president. And isn't it wild? We live in a country where someone that wasn't even so much as a mayor beforehand could become the president. God bless America. God bless America. What a wonderful place to live. Best country in the world. Best, freest, most wonderful country in the entire world. Anyway. Look, let me say it like this to you, 117. I'm going to have to go for now. However, no matter what you might think, I actually do appreciate that you came in and chatted with us today. Oh, hey, Meek. How are you, dear? So glad to see you. Mostly the shutdown. We've gone back and forth about a couple of things, but the government shutdown here in the U.S. It's so good to see you, dear. I'm about to leave, but I'll be back soon. And I just want to tell you, Mr. 117, or I'm assuming, you can tell me if I'm wrong. If you're a Mrs., I'll call you Mrs. or whatever. The 117. Do come back and chat with us again, because believe it or not, I actually encourage dissenting opinions because I think they're really important. You have a blessed day as well, Simba. I will. I'll do it. Thank you guys so much for coming to hang out. I hope to see some of you guys again soon. I think it's been a really good live. Lots of great conversation. We don't have to agree on every single thing. That's what makes America great, right? And I do appreciate those who, you know, sometimes it's hard to, I mean, we definitely can tell, you know, thank you, Meek. So good to see you, dear. I think we can definitely tell not only am I conservative, but most of my friends here are conservative. And so I think it does take some amount of courage to not just spew names and vitriol, but actually come in and try to have a conversation with someone in a place that you know you are the minority in being a liberal. So I appreciate and respect that people do come and talk to us and, you know, just conversate, because I think these conversations are important. Even if we don't change any minds, I think it's important to be able to defend your ideals and your beliefs. I think that's really important. So, 117, you come on back if you'd like, or if you just fucking hate me because I don't agree with you, then that's also your prerogative, but you're welcome if you'd like to come back. And Deb and everyone else, and Mary, and I know DJ was here, and Ron was here for a minute, and even Matt stopped in for a minute. So good to see you guys. I hope everyone has a beautiful, wonderful day. It's rainy and gross here, but I'm going to go spend some time with my Nana. I hope your days are wonderful. God bless y'all. Until next time, take care of yourselves and each other.